Alright, so my name is Alex, if you didn't know already, and today I'm going to be going through a walkthrough of Master of Orion 2. Now, if you've heard me in Gaming Club, you know that I love this game. This is probably one of my favorite games of all time, and it is probably one of the best, if not the best, RX strategy games that has ever been made. Now, personally, I think it's the best strategy game, period. But I'll leave that up to you as you go along. Now, this game was made back in DOS. Now, if you don't know what DOS is, it was essentially just how most video games ran back in the day. They didn't have... So actually, you know how there's things like Steam? Well, DOS was kind of like Steam. Except DOS was like a coding program, but that's about it. I'm sure you've heard of the Elder Scrolls games, Skyrim, one of the most famous games out there. Well, the original Elder Scrolls games, Daggerfall and Arena, they were actually played on DOS. But a lot of games got their origins from there, and I could be wrong, but I believe Civilization also came from DOS. But we're going to, I'm not here to teach you a history lesson, I'm teaching you how to play this game, so we're just going to hop right into it. So obviously we're going to click on New Game, and as you can see, it's pretty self-explanatory what all this is, but I'm still going to explain any parts that you won't know. So for difficulty, if you're new to the game, you can try easy mode. But hopefully by the end of this playthrough, you should be able to play on average. So for this playthrough, we're just going to play on average because it's going to be easier to explain to you things, and it's just I won't have to worry as much about different things. So for galaxy size, this allows you to change the amount of stars in your galaxy. Now, the amount of stars in your galaxy, it varies from size to size. You've got small, which I believe is 24, medium, which is 48, and you've got large, which is 72, and then you've got huge, which I believe is 96. Now, a cluster galaxy is like a special subsection of the large galaxy. I never really play on these, and I never play on anything over medium, especially with only 5 players. If I'm ever going to do over 5 players, then I might play on a large map, but I usually only play with 5. It's just a preference of mine. So for galaxy age, this allows, this changes the percentage of habitable planets in your galaxy, and it also changes the percentage of what kind of composition those planets have. So as you can see, you've got an organic rich galaxy age. Now what this means is that most planets are going to be hospitable. And they are also going to have buffs to industry, like rich or ultra-rich. Well, they're more likely. If we were to go to mineral-rich, the planets would be less hospitable. The planets would be less likely to be hospitable, but they would have a higher chance of being mineral-rich worlds. Then we just go to average, which is just the basic state of the game. You get the normal percentage of habitable and mineral-rich planets. But we're going to play on organic-rich today, and we're also going to have 5 players. Now, you can go up to 8 players, as you can see. Now, this is a absolute this is very hard to do if you're going to play with 8 players in a medium-sized galaxy. So we're just going to go with 5 because going on a large galaxy would take way too much time, and we don't really want to do that. So now we have tech level. Now there are 4 to 5 levels of tech. So you've got the pre-warp, which is, you still have to research the basic fundamentals of spaceflight, which I will get into later because we're going to go with pre-warp in this playthrough. Next you have average, and in average you start out with 2 scouts and 1 colony ship. Next you've got post-warp, which I believe has you starting out with the same ships. You might have a bit of offensive ships as well, but you also get more advanced technology. But the problem is, as your technology in the game, if you adjust your tech level at the start, then that will that will change every other race's tech level also. So let's say you were to go into an advanced tech level, which is the highest tech level that you can go to, and then every other race in the game would also have an advanced tech level. But anyway, so that doesn't matter because we're just going to go with the pre-warp technology. So every race is not going to have a ship, and every race is going to not be able to explore any of the planets until they start building scout ships. Next we have tactical combat, which basically allows us to go into our combat screens and control our ships whenever we're in battle. Next we've got random events, which will be portrayed to you through GNN messages, which I will show you later whenever it happens. These can be either good or bad, it depends. Next you've got the Antarans. Now the Antarans, according to Master of Orion lore, were banished to an alternate dimension because the main race, the Orions, had a constant feud with them, so they banished them away with their advanced technology. Now the Antarans are starting to leak back into the galaxy, and they are trying to exterminate all life. Now, in the game, what this does is it makes it to where the AI considers the best race in the game, they will be attacked. So if you're doing really well, chances are you are probably going to be attacked by the Antarans. Next, let's go on to the race screen. Now, as you can see, we've got 11 races, and we've also got a custom race, but we'll go over that later. So with 11 races, obviously there is a lot of stuff to go over. So what we're going to do is we're actually just going to I will go into the next screen for custom because we are going to do a custom race this game, and I will show you what all this is. But I would like to show you all the just what all the races look like first. So we've got the Alkari. They are a bird people. As you can see, they're kind of like dinosaurs. I love dinosaurs. They're pretty neat. Next, we've got the Bulrathi, the Darloks, which is like the spying race of the game. Next, we've got the Illyrians, the Nolams, the Humans, the Klakons, the Mechlars, the Mershan, the Cylons, the Sakra, the Silicoids, and the Trilarians. So we're going to go into custom, and I will explain to you what everything is once we get there. And then if you need to use it as a reference guide, you can go back to these races and see what they mean. So we're going to go into custom, and for this playthrough, we are going to pick the Trilarians, because the Trilarians are pretty cool looking. So first thing we're going to do, we're just going to clear all of this. Now we're going to start with all the different traits that a race can have. So for population, this obviously affects how much your population growth in the game. So you start out with 6 population on your home planet, and basically population growth determines how fast you can grow your population. So if you were to have 100% growth, it would increase your population growth by 100%. Same thing goes for 50% and minus 50%. Next we have farming, which is obviously it's the same thing as population except for food production. And the same goes for industry and science. Industry being production and science being research. And the same thing goes for money as well. Now we have ship defense. Now this affects how well your ships do in combat. Both ship defense and ship attack. They're pretty self-explanatory, obviously, so we're not going... it just affects how your ships do in combat. But these aren't really that useful as traits in the game. There are much better traits in the game to use than this. And I might, later on in this playthrough, we might actually get minus 20 ship attack, because we can just make up for that using better and better weapons. Alright, next we have ground combat, which improves how well your marines do whenever you're invading another planet. So in this game, you can invade other planets and you can take them over, assimilating their population and essentially making it your own planet. And you also don't run the risk of destroying any buildings like if you were bombing it. So you get to keep all the buildings, and if you're lucky, you might get some new tech. We might do that in this playthrough, but that only depends if we go to war or not. Spying affects how your spies do, like how well your spies are. spies can be used for espionage or sabotage. Espionage means that you can steal another race's technology, and sabotage means that you can ruin either their factories, their missile bases, or any kind of building that they have on their planet. Now, this helps. If you destroy a missile base, this helps a lot, obviously, because this means that you can destroy a planet. You can destroy a planet's main defense system if you do this, which really helps in the way of conquering. It. Or the same thing goes for a star base, which I will show you later. Next, we have the government types. There are 4 government types. There's feudal, dictatorship, democracy, and unification. Feudal governments are not very good. If you know anything about medieval Europe, like it says here in the description, pretty much it's how this government is set up. Now, there are some benefits. As you can see, ship costs are reduced by 1/3, which is good. But planets suffer a minus 20% morale penalty, unless they have a marine or armor barracks. Now, that's the same with a dictatorship as well. Here's the thing. Feudal governments have all research generated by scientists reduced by 50%. That is not good. If you can do anything in this game, it should be to avoid losing any possibility to increase your research. Now, here's their assimilation process. So if you were to conquer another planet, they assimilate 1 population every 8 turns. Now, the problem with feudal populations is if an AI were to invade your planet, they are instantly assimilated. Your population is instantly assimilated. Next, we have the dictatorship, which is the default government in the game. As you can see, defensive agents so defensive agents mean like spies. They get a plus 10 bonus. However, planets suffer a minus 20% morale penalty unless they have a marine or armor barracks, like a feudal government. And they also have the same assimilation rate. Next, we have democracy, which is a more peaceful approach, and it's also just a better approach for research. So as you can see, but there are problems with it. As you can see, spies are penalized minus 10. So you're more likely to have your tech stolen from you, especially by the Darlocks. Democracies assimilate capture population at half the time that feudal and dictatorships do. As you can see, research is increased by 50% instead of minus 50%, like if you had a feudal government, and trade increases all tax revenues by 50%. Which means that you earn more money per churn. However, democracies, whenever you conquer a planet with every other race, you have the choice to either assimilate them or start wiping out every single life form on the planet, so that you can have your own population there. But democracies are not allowed to do that. Finally, we have unification, which is essentially like a hive mind. As you can see, spies receive a plus 15 bonus. All morale effects any buildings are ignored. So if you were to build a morale boosting building like a hollow simulator, then it wouldn't count towards anything. Now, this can be either good or bad, because morale can actually increase the amount of production, research, or food production that you have. So it can be good, but it's also not that good. So as you can see, unification governments assimilate captured population at 1 every 20 turns, which is not very good. So if you were to do a unification playthrough and you wanted to conquer another planet, you would have to build a marine barracks pretty quickly, because you do not want these people rebelling, and you'd also want to keep your military ships there so that they do not rebel. However, productivity is increased by 50%, and it also increases 50% for food production. Next, we've got the special abilities for each race. So the first thing we have to do is the low G world. This stands for low gravity. So people from low gravity worlds, they cannot settle, or they can settle on high gravity and normal gravity worlds. However, they have a industry penalty because of it. The same thing goes for high G worlds, except it's only for low G planets. Sorry about that. Anyway, so and then you have, if you don't select either of these, then you will have a normal G world. And this means that you will not be able to settle on high gravity or low gravity worlds without special technology, and you don't get a industry bonus. Next we have aquatic, which is actually a default setting for the Trilarians, as high gravity world is for the Bulrathi and low gravity world is for the Nolums and the Cylons. So as for aquatic, this means that your home planet is going to be an aquatic world. So it's going to be an ocean planet. But this also means that swamp planets and tundra planets, which are usually not good planets to settle if you're a race that has a Terran environment, they're okay, but they're not as good. But if you have an aquatic special ability, then that means that it's treated as a Terran planet, which is the second best planet type in the game. Next, we have Subterran, which increases the amount of population that you can have on a single planet. This is one of the default picks for the Sakura. Next, we have a large homeworld, which makes your homeworld large. There are five types of planet sizes in the game. You have small, I think it's extra small, medium, large, and extra large. I could be wrong. I might be wrong there, but point is, this increases the size of your world, which increases the amount of population that you can have on a planet. As for a rich homeworld, this increases the amount of industry points that you get, and for poor homeworld, it decreases the amount of industry bonus that you have. For an artifacts world, that increases the amount of research that you can do, so you get a research bonus. If you are cybernetic, let me see. Oh, okay, so if you are a cybernetic race, then that means that you consume half as much food as other races do. You also get this leads to you getting an industry bonus because you don't have to put as many people in food production. And the Meklar are actually a cybernetic race. The Alkari also have an artifacts world, and I believe a rich homeworld as well. Next we have lithivores, which means that the race that has this does not have to eat at all, which means that you do not have to put anyone in food production. So you can put everyone in industry production if you would like, because lithivores eat rocks, so there is no need for food production whatsoever. Next we have repulsive, which is one of the most... if you are going to do a playthrough with repulsive, it is going to be a very hard playthrough, because this means that you cannot interact with any other races in the game, except for making a peace treaty or declaring war on them. And in this game, diplomacy can cost so much. You can get so much out of diplomacy. So if you are going to do a repulsive playthrough, it is going to be very hard for you. Next, we have charismatic, which increases the chance of alien races accepting proposals like trade treaties or research treaties, or non-aggression pacts or alliances. Basically, other races will like you more. Next, we have uncreative, which means that the AI randomly selects a tech that you can research on the tech tree. You are not allowed to pick for yourself. Now, for creative, you are allowed to you get every single tech, and you get every single tech from that certain point in the tech tree. Next, we have tolerant, which means that you can settle on any planet. And you don't need any special technology in order to do so. You also won't need anything to make the planet more habitable. It'll already be habitable enough for you. You can, of course, increase the you can, of course, make the planet better for you, but it doesn't affect you in any negative way. So let's say you were on a radiated planet, which is the worst planet type in the game. You would not have any negative bonuses for it. And so the silicoids, what makes them so dangerous is the fact that they are lithivores, which means that they can put more points into industry, and they are also tolerant, which means that they can spread fast. And tolerant also makes it to where the amount of industrial waste you produce doesn't matter to that race. See, normally if you were to produce a large amount of industrial waste, it would cost on your empire, because not only would you have to have upkeep for that, but it would also ruin your planet over time. Next, we have fantastic traders, which obviously increases the amount of BC, or billion credits, which is the main money system in the game, that you get from trading with other races. Next, we have telepathic, which allows any race that has this ability and has a cruiser-style ship to conquer another planet from orbit just by controlling them with their minds. It is very OP in the early game, and it can be very good. It can be very good late game too if you have ships like this. If you have powerful enough ships to take over planets, you won't have to go through any of the assimilation process because everyone is already automatically assimilated. Next, for these next trait, we have Lucky, which increases the likelihood of you getting good random events. Next, we have Omniscient, which means that you can see every planet you can see every star system in the galaxy, and you can also see where every other race is. Next, we have Stealthy Ships, which basically means that other races cannot see your ships traveling through hyperspace unless you are right over their colony. I believe this also has a thing in combat as well. Oh, no, okay, it has no effect in space combat. Okay, never mind then. Next, we have Transdimensional, which means that your ships will move faster. And finally, we have Warlord, which increases the amount of ships that you can produce. It increases that, and it also makes it faster for your ship leaders to level up. So what we're going to do here is we are going to, let's see here. I think we should embrace the Trilaterian heritage and go to an aquatic environment. So we'll do that, and we'll go on a large, rich homeworld with we'll go with a -10 to spying so that we can get this artifacts, and we'll also go to a -10 for ground combat so that we can get charismatic. Now, these may seem bad, but these two may seem bad to automatically take away, but taking away 10 spying only makes it to where it's the same as a democracy. And since we are charismatic, that means we have a more likelihood of convincing other races to do what we ask them to do. So, if we ask a race if we ask a race that we're on good terms with to stop spying on us, they are more likely to do so. So this is actually not that bad. It'll turn out okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to try to be friendly to every other race in the game, and we are going to try to obviously just, kind of take over the galaxy at through a conquering standpoint at first, and then maybe a more diplomatic standpoint later on. So now we're going to get into the game here. You can select your different ship. You can select your empire color, so this will show up what your ships look like and whatnot. We're just going to go with white because it pokes at it. You see it the most in terms of in terms of your ships. You're able to see them better and more clearly. So this is the main screen of the game. This is what you will possibly be looking at most. As you can see, this is our entire galaxy right here. This is our home planet, Trilar. And we aren't in the best position. Let's see here. How far away is this? Well, this looks to be about 3 parsecs away, maybe 4. And this looks about to be maybe 2 parsecs. Or it could be the other way around, and this could be 3 parsecs, and this could be around 5 parsecs. We don't know. Point is, we don't really have the best spot. I would be much more pleased if we were up in this section right here, because these star area right here is very, very good. We have 4 orange stars right in a row and 2 yellow stars right next to each other. So there might actually be a race up there if we are unlucky. But what we're going to want to do is we're going to want to conquer these 4 stars right here if we can, as soon as possible. because we do not want any other races getting in our way. That would be very bad. And as for our system, well, we don't really have the best for colonizing other planets, but that's okay. We won't conquer this planet. It would only be a waste of resources because it's ultra poor and it's low G, so its industry debuffs would just stack to about 75%, and we do not want that. That is disgusting. Alright, so let's look at our colony. So this is your colony screen. This is where you can manage the amount of resources that your empire is producing. So since we're not building a colony base, we don't have to worry about industry points. So we're just going to go straight into housing, and we are also going to move this industry worker to science because we want to get ships as soon as possible so that we can scout out those areas and hopefully ward off anyone else that's in the area. So, as you can see, you can change the amount of food that your colony produces. You can change the amount of industry, which increases or decreases the amount, how quick your colony can build certain buildings. And as for research, well, that improves your research speed for researching new techs. So, the first thing we're going to want to do is we're going to want to get freighters. Now, the reason we want this is because freighters they transport food from one planet to another. So let's say we were going to settle on this. Let's say we were going to settle on this one little desert planet right here, right? Well, a desert planet only produces one food per person. So if you were to have, so let's say if our planet was bigger, right, and we had a population of 6 people on this planet, we would have to have every single one of them placed inside a food because they would not have enough food for. They would not have enough food to where they could do anything else. But that's where freighters come in handy because freighters can transport food and other things from planet to planet. So as you can see, we have +1 food being made. So we could, if we were to settle this colony, we could move it to that person to industry rather than food, and then we could focus on building the planet's buildings. But like I said, we're not going to worry about this planet for quite a while because it just isn't very good at all. What we actually have a better chance of doing is actually settling in this asteroid belt, which is much later in the game, but you know, it is still likely going to be better than this tiny little desert planet right here. So we're just going to smooth things along until we get our next tech, and perfect, we have freighters. So this is good. Oh, I don't have any music playing. Alright, but regardless, I'll fix that in a little bit. So next we're going to research our chemistry because we want to get scout ships as soon as possible. And you can't properly scout without extended fuel tanks, which is very helpful. So we're actually going to build a freighter fleet right now because we don't want to build it later on in the game. And we are going to move one of our science workers to industry just so we can build this freighter fleet faster. Next thing we're going to do, we're just going to keep going along. Alright, so this is a leader. Now, leaders in the game can obviously provide you buffs for your planets. Now, this is, I like to call him Han Solo. He just kind of has that look, you know. Anyway, so Han Solo here, he gives you a buff to your ship combat, which can be good, but we don't have enough money to hire him, and we don't really have enough ships to do any ship combat with, so essentially he is worthless to us right now. So there are 2 types of leaders that you can get. You can get either a colony leader or a ship leader, which is what Han Solo here is. He is a ship leader, so if you put him on a ship, he will give buffs to any ship or any fleet that ship is in. But again, we don't need him right now. He isn't very viable, and he might show up later in the game. What we really want right now is just some kind of colony leader. They will be the most helpful. Alright, so now that we have that, now that we have extended fuel tanks done, we can now start building our scouts. So we're going to build 3 scouts so that we can be very effective in our scouting. So we're just going to keep going along for a bit, and our first scout is made. So at this point I'm going to save the game because At different star systems, there is a chance that there will be a spawn for either a giant eel, a space amoeba, or a space dragon. All of these will destroy your ship on sight, and if we're very unlucky, we will find the Guardian. Now, the Guardian is what watches over Orion, the best planet in the game. Once you beat the Guardian, you are able to colonize Orion and take some of their tech, which is the most advanced tech in the game, and it is very, very good. But the Guardian is no pushover. You have to be much later on in the game to even have a chance of fighting him and winning. So we're not going to worry about that right now. So we're just going to go. We're just going to save, and now we have our next tech. So now we're going to focus on colony ship, because we want to build a colony ship as soon as possible. So now we are going to start moving our scouts around. I don't think it's saved. It did not. There we go. Okay. I'm also going to turn the music up because, it's kind of... Silence is deafening. So this is the music for the game. It's pretty good. It goes on a loop, but you won't really notice. Alright, so actually this is amazing. Okay, good. Very good, very good. So red stars usually do not have good planets, but a tundra planet isn't really all that good for a normal race. But since we are aquatic, we get a population boost to a tundra environment. Which means that a tundra environment is essentially like a Terran planet is. So we're going to... so this will likely be the first planet that we colonize. Next we're just going to go over to these planets. Okay, yeah, so these are 3 part. So this is a 3 parsec trip, and I believe this is a 2 parsec trip. Alright, so this is the Zax system. Not very good, so we likely aren't going to settle here for a while. Okay, this isn't that bad, actually. Another large tundra. This is very good. This is very good for us. And a huge arid, which is also... It's not good. It's not good in terms of food production, but it is not bad. We should definitely look to colonize the system as soon as we can. The only problem is these planets are poor, so they're going to have an industry debuff. Alright, so now that we have finished making our scouts, we are going to see... We're just going to go back to housing for now. We're not going to try and build a colony ship until later. Obviously, we don't even have it researched yet, so there's no point in trying. Let's just keep getting our scouts going. I guess we can't anymore. Huh, that's kind of sad. But that's alright. We will just keep them deployed at these 3 planets, just so that we can make sure that we were here before anyone else, and we don't let anyone else come and scout this area out. Alright, so now we're just going to research the final part of computers, and now we're going to see how long it takes for a colony ship to be built. Alright, it will take 56 turns for a colony ship to be built. That is not very good. Let us see what happens if we put more people into industry. 36. That's still not very good. It's not very efficient, so we're just going to keep these guys in industry. In fact, I think... Yeah, okay, so we're just going to add another guy here to increase it. Alright, so we've got the 2 systems that we want to conquer. Now all that we need to do is just get more people, and then we can eventually build the colony ship and settle our first colony. So the first thing I'm going to want to do is I'm going to want to get Research Laboratory. Now Research Laboratory is one of the best early game techs that you can get. It allows you to build a research lab on your planet, and it gives you +5 research points. I think it also increases the amount of research that a scientist produces by 1 point, which is good. So we definitely want to get this first because we need to research tech as soon as possible. Tech is one of the main things that drives this game forward. Diplomacy is one of the others, and obviously having a functioning economy is also very good. Alright, now that we have that out of the way, we can go to let's see here, advanced engineering, speed, because we want to go into construction because of automated factories. Automated factories will increase the amount of industry that we have on a planet, which means that we can build the colony ship faster. So we are just going to go with, let's see here, reinforced hull is nice, but fighter bays can be pretty cool. So if you've ever seen Star Wars, which I'm surprised if any of you haven't, you know that the Death Star has fighter bays for their TIE fighters. Well, you can do the same thing for your ships. But I'm pretty sure they have to be a cruiser level ship in order for you to install fighter bays on them. Now, reinforced hull makes your ships essentially have more armor, which overall increases the amount of hit points it takes to take them down. Both can be good, but I think I'm going to go with reinforced hull because it's just a generally more important tech. Now that I think about it, most races are going to go with reinforced hull. So if we were to trade fighter bays with reinforced hull, yeah, let's try that. Let's actually go with fighter bays. I haven't gone with fighter bays in a long time, so let's see how this plays out. Maybe this will turn out pretty good. Alright, so now that we have research lab research, we are obviously going to start building this, and we're going to see if we can build it. Alright, good. So we can buy it out. So, but we're not going to. Now, when you buy something out, this means that you automatically complete it in one churn. This can be very effective if you use it wisely, but don't try to buy every single thing. It won't be effective at all. See, we can just do this in 4 churns, and that will be plenty of time. We won't need to spend 250 BC, or 160 BC on there. We are going to actually stockpile our BC up, so that we can buy the colony ship as soon as possible. Alright, perfect. Now that we have our research lab done, now we can focus back on housing. And we're just going to transfer these guys that we had in industry back to technology. Just keep going through. Alright, now we have fighter bays. Perfect. I'm not going to start building any military just yet, because I haven't discovered any other race in the game, and I just don't really. I like to be pacifist. Alright, so now we're going to go with biospheres. Now, biospheres increases the amount of population you can have on a planet by 2. And hydroponic farm increases the amount of food production that you have by 2. Now, biospheres is more useful in the long run. Hydroponic farm can be useful, but like I said, with the fighter bays, we can probably just trade biospheres later on for hydroponic farm. Let's just hope that the Cylons aren't in the game, because the Cylons are creative, which means that if they were to research something, they would get every single one. See, as you have probably noticed by now, when I click on something, I only get that one piece of tech. I don't get both. But if you were the Cylons, you would get both, which is very, very good. That's why the Cylons are the best race in the game. You should really worry about them early game. If you have the possibility to, try and just limit the amount of planets that they can have. And if you can take them out as soon as possible. Alright, so now that we have biospheres, we're going to go with automated factories. Ooh, okay, this guy is actually not that bad. The only thing he's going to be useful for is galactic lore, though. Now, what galactic lore lets us do is it lets us see the entire galaxy. So we're going to see. Okay, no, that won't do anything. It's basically like having omniscient trait, but you have to pay for it. So we're going to be able to see where every race is, what planets they've colonized or been to, and we will also see every other planet in the galaxy. So let's actually get enough money to hire him. Oh, okay, perfect. We have that. Now we're going to go with, let's see here, Space Academy. We'll just go with Space Academy. Alright, so now we have enough money to buy him. The thing is, once we hire him, we are going to get rid of him. Which seems kind of cruel, I know, but he costs 4 BC per turn, and we do not have enough to let that happen. So as you can see, we can see every race in the game now, where every single race is, and it looks like there aren't the Cylons anywhere. So that's actually really good. We do have a problem. We have the Clacons right here. The Clacons are a very industry-based race, so they produce things much faster than other races do. Other than that, it looks like we're not in a bad. We don't have that bad of a picking. Chrysalon is really the only problem because this is the home of the Silicoids, and as I mentioned earlier, they can settle any planet without having any negative debuffs, unless it's a poor or ultra poor or rich or ultra rich. But this is okay. We can work with this. Anyway, so now we're just going to fire this guy because we don't need him anymore. But now that we know where every planet is, we can check out these planets and we don't have to send any scout ships. Okay, so this is a rich barren planet that has heavy G. This would be worth colonizing, maybe later, but not right now. Next we have another tundra planet, which is abundant. Perfect. So yeah. So these three planets right here, Oleron, Fullen, and Gabar, are really what we should be aiming for. And, okay, so this is actually very unlucky. So whenever you have a gas giant, whenever you have a system like this, you will not use this system at all. This will never be able to be used. Now, if you were to have an actual planet in this system, then you colonize it, later on in the game you are able to terraform gas giants into barren planets and colonize them. But since there is no colonizable planet here, you cannot terraform these planets, so this planet is basically worthless, except for outpost ships, which won't matter to us because we'll be colonizing planets close to it anyway. Next, let's check out Abith. It has a Terran planet, a small Terran-rich planet. That's also very good. We should get to colonizing that probably as soon. Actually, you know what? We're going to focus on these planets up here because we do not want the Clacons to get these planets right here. These are our planets. We should not let them have it. So then, now that we have automated factories, we're going to start building them on here. I should have done that sooner, but I forgot. So let's do that. Make biospheres also. And let's transfer these guys over to industry. Oh, he's back. And he's charging more. Well, that's rude. Fired you for a reason. Alright, good. So we've completed automated factories. Now we're just going to get biospheres. Alright, amazing. Now we have biospheres done. So as you can see, we are producing over 11. We are producing 11 units of industrial waste, which is not good. So we're just going to move this guy back to research, and we're going to see what colony ship takes. 24. Okay, that's good. We should start building that now. Let's see. Yeah, okay, so that won't be worth anything. Alright, so that. Alright. Okay. Alright, so now that we have Space Academy, we can go into xenopsychology, which will help relations with other races. Okay, on second thought, never mind. Let's not go with that. We do not want to wait 25 turns to get a tech. That would be inefficient. So actually, you know what we're going to do? We are going to get deuterium fuel cells. This increases the amount of distance that your ships can travel. Oh, perfect, perfect. Okay, so here is a colony leader. Oh, don't worry about that. So a colony leader essentially, it obviously improves the lot. It gives you buffs to your colonies. We don't have enough to hire this guy right now, but as soon as we're able to, we will, because what this guy does is he decreases the amount of industrial waste we produce and increases the amount of food that we produce. He also increases our overall research, which is also very good. But we're going to need to produce 200 BC if we want to hire him. Oh, okay, so this is actually a good chance to explain random events. So like I said earlier, random events will be talked about in GNN podcasts, or GNN reviews. They're just different things. They can range from, like the Meklar have here, finding random tech in a derelict ship, or they can also range from a hyperspace flux, which means that your ships won't be able to travel anywhere. They will also report on new beings coming into the galaxy, like a space amoeba, or a space crystal, or a space dragon. And they will also talk about just many other things that are too many to list right now. So that doesn't really apply to us. It sucks because they got the Class 1 shield for free, essentially, but that's okay. We don't have to worry about the Mechlars right now. Oh, okay, so we actually are coming into contact with our first Klakon ship. It is a destroyer-class ship, which means that it is probably coming to beat us up. Alright, never mind. It is leaving. Oh, so they have colonized Kabar already. That was one of my planets that I want. I don't like that. I don't like that whatsoever. We might go... No, it wouldn't be efficient to go into an early war with the Klakons. We do not want to do that. So we'll just go into Spica here. And we'll just kind of say hi to the Klakons. We should be interacting with them now? No? Okay. Maybe now? No? Okay. Okay, so now we have enough to get this colony leader, which is good. We are going to hire him now. And we are going to post him on Trilar. Now, let's go into the Trilar and let's go into Trilar and see just how much he affects our industry. So, as you can see, let's go back to 3, right? When we had 3 last time, we had almost 9 units of industrial waste. Now we only have 4. And even with 5 workers, we still do not have 10 units of industrial waste. In fact, we only have 8, which is very good, which means that we can focus more on building a colony ship instead of cleaning up the industrial waste. So I'm actually going to move this one guy over to here because it increases our overall research, plus it only takes away 1 turn from the colony ship build. So we're just not going to worry about that. Alright, now we have Fusion Beam. It's a new form of weapon that we have that we can put on our ships now, but like I said, we're not going to worry about building ships just yet because we want to focus on colonizing as soon as possible. Alright, so this is another leader, a ship leader. He's not very good, especially compared to the one that we have now, so we're just going to reject him. Alright, perfect. Now we have our first colony ship. This is very good. That means we can start colonizing other planets. Ooh, wait, we have terraforming already? That is, surprising. That's very good, though. Okay, so terraforming your planet basically means changing its environment. This becomes very useful later on in the game whenever you're settling a barren planet. I did not think that we'd have it already. Oh, I know why. Because our colony leader comes with that tech. So that's why we have terraforming so early. Alright, so we're just going to send our colony ship over to Oleron. We are going to colonize our first planet. Which is going to be this large tundra world. Now you might be asking, well, why didn't you colonize the other planet, that one that was right next to you? And the reason for that is because it's close enough to me, and it's far enough from other races to where I don't have to worry about it being colonized anytime soon. Unlike this planet, which could be colonized by the Klakon real soon. So I kind of want to establish dominance over here. Alright, so now we have the secrets of Class 1 shield, and after we get out of this tech screen, we should be interacting with the Klakons. So we're going to get battle pods, which increases the amount of space that your ship can have. So it increases it by 50%. Alright, so this seems like a militaristic... They seem like they have a militaristic trait. So each race will have a form of... It will have... Here, let's see here. It will have like a different personality trait. As you can see... Okay, so they're not militaristic. They are aggressive. And they are also ecologists, which means that they will focus more on planetology than other techs. They are also aggressive, which means that they can be tilted very easily. They can be more tilted than tilted towers very easily. That was a very good meme. Do not judge me. Alright, so we're just going to go into a diplomatic stance with them on the bat, because we really just do not want to... So they just want terraforming. We're not going to give them that. We're going to just automatically start getting a trade treaty and a... Well, apparently not a trade treaty, but a research treaty going. We can see if we can offer a gift to them, and then they'll accept. No. But that's okay, because once the research treaty is going, our relationship with them will rise, and they will want to do more. So we're just gonna keep going along. It doesn't look like... That's weird, they haven't colonized this planet yet. That means we could, but we don't really want to settle in their area because, I mean, for obvious reasons, we don't even have a non-aggression pact with them, which means that they can attack us at any time. We do not want that. That would not be a fun time. So let's see how our terraforming is going on this planet. We only have 3 turns left. Alrighty then. Alright, so we're just going to keep on going here. Keep getting our tech going along. I should move my fleet out of here. I don't really think that getting in a early war because, you know, we just got a bit too close to them would be a good idea. Alright, perfect. Trilar has finished terraforming. Very good, very good, very good. So now it's a Terran environment, which means that we get more food production, it's just an overall better world, and yeah. Oh, so this is a dimensional portal. Now what this does, this lets you travel to the Antaran homeworld and defeat the Antarans if you have a big enough fleet. But we're not, that is much later in the game, and we are not going to worry about that at all. Alright, so now we're just going to build more colony ships because, like I said earlier, we need to colonize as soon as possible. Let me see if I can build my marine barracks yet? Or our automatic factory? No, we cannot. That is sad. Alright, now we have battle pods. Perfect. Let's see here. What should we go for next? I usually go with tack on communications because it increases the amount of ships that you can have. But we can get better communications in later game. Battle scanner. We'll go with battle scanner. Because that allows you to scan ships and see what they have on them. Which is helpful in fights. It's kind of funny. Alright, so we have officially discovered Abath now. Like I said, we're likely going to go to Fulman and then Abath. Abath is more likely to be conquered by these races right here. But we still likely won't have to worry about it. Actually, we're probably gonna go... Yeah. So we're going to go with for Fulman and then Abath next. Oh! Okay, so this is a very bad, random event. So, essentially, we cannot do anything in the Oleron star system for an unknown amount of turns. It can last for a while. I think the highest I had when this happened was about 20 to 30 turns, which is very bad in game terms, because you cannot do anything with this planet. This entire star system is essentially worthless right now. We can't do anything. As you can see, it's stuck in like a space-time anomaly. So, that's alright. Let's just hope it ends soon, because that's really all we can do. Alright, now we have a battle scanner. This is good. We are allowed to scan ships now, and it also increases our accuracy when it comes to hitting things in space combat. Now we're going to go for neural scanner, which increases our spy level, and we are just kicking it in research right now. Let's see how our colony ship is doing, because we do want that thing done as soon as possible. Like I said, building colonies is a huge priority in this game. Just keep researching tech. Neural scanner. Okay, now that we have that, we can either get planetary supercomputer, which is something that is similar to the research laboratory, or we can get the holo simulator, which improves morale. Now, improved morale means that your industry, it means that pretty much everything goes up. But planetary supercomputer is also very important, because that means that we can research things faster. And we can get better morale things later. But, you know, we are probably going to go with holo simulator. But for right now, we're not going to focus on that because it would take too long, so we're just going to get for soil enrichment. But I'm actually going to end it here. I hope you all kind of have a better idea of what to do with the game, if you've been watching. I'm just going to save. And yeah, so I should be making more playthroughs of this game often. If you are interested in them, text me in the retro games chat, like DM me, whatever you need to do, and I will be happy to see if I can release them more often. But yeah, I hope you all enjoyed watching this, and yeah.